Manzio, thank you so much for coming in today. It's an absolute pleasure having you. You've had great success in your legal career. Can you tell us a little bit about it so far?
Yeah, look, Louise, I started back in 2006 back then it was an article clerkship as opposed to a traineeship as it is now at Nowicki Carbone Lawyers, which at the time was a small boutique personal injury law firm with up to about 40 people. Stayed there, obviously finished my article clerkship, stayed there for about 6 months post that, and then decided to make the move to the other side, so to speak, to Trescotts Lawyers. And that firm specialised in more insurance litigation and commercial litigation, and so it was completely different to Nowicki Carbone, which was on the plaintiff side. And so I made that bold call to go across. And for a couple of years, I had a mixture of the commercial and insurance litigation matters, which was great for me personally. Then made the move back to Nowicki Carbone, and there was an opportunity to run their insurance practice, which comprised of public liability, medical law, superannuation and Comcare a little bit. And I took the opportunity up and came back to where I started. And then shortly thereafter I was given the opportunity to take partnership, which I did in 2010. And then 4 years on we sold in 2014 to Slater and Gordon, which was happened a lot sooner or quicker than I thought that would happen. And then now I'm integrated into the Slater and Gordon firm, and another chapter.
It's fantastic. You've had really good experience at such a young age. You became partner at 27. How did you do it so quickly?
Look, yeah, 27 is not the norm. It's much earlier than the average age, and it was difficult. I was managing people that were 20, 30 years plus experience over me, and that was a challenge. But how I did it was, look, I showed from a very early age that I was committed to, one, managing people, two, being a leader, and three, I brought ideas to the firm, I brought clients to the firm, and look, I did everything that I think a partner needs to do. And even though you can't do it to its nth degree, I showed early on that I want it, and I had a passion for it. And look, I was fortunate enough that the managing partner at the time saw that in me and gave me the opportunity to bind the partnership, and never looked back after that. So
yeah. And being such a young partner, what were some of the challenges you faced both internally and externally, and how did you overcome them?
Yep. Well, look, a lot of challenges. At the time when I came partner, the firm wasn't at its in its greatest shape, and so internally and externally we had to make some hard calls, and also sort of change the reputation of the firm. Internally, look, challenges was I was managing people that were 20 years plus over my years, and trying to do that was difficult because they probably know more about me than the law, but the fact is that I was in that position and had to make some tough calls. Look, externally, we wanted the firm to be recognised, and we wanted to be known not only in the legal circles but obviously in the marketplace. And so we recruited a lot of new people, a lot of new stakeholders, different areas of the law, and from different practices. And also, externally, we got the name out there a lot more than some other firms, and I think we were pretty proactive in that regard. And so it was a very quick turnaround, probably quicker than I thought it'd be, and but it was a great result.
So going back into your earlier career, you mentioned that you moved from Nowicki Carbone Lawyers, then to Trescotts, then back to Nowicki's, and you went from plaintiff to defendant, then back to plaintiff.
Yep.
Why did you go back to plaintiff, and was it difficult returning to your previous employer?
Look, I went to Trescotts because I wanted to do something different, and I didn't want to become pigeonholed in my career, because that was my first job out of uni, and you don't know what you don't know, so to speak. And so I wanted to round my CV out, and so I did make the bold move going to Trescotts because, look, I loved Nowicki Carbone. I didn't want to leave my job. And so, some people, when you're not happy, it's easy to leave, but I actually wanted to stay. But it was a risk that I took, and look, it was the best thing that I ever did, because I learned about so many different things, more of a corporate culture and how those partnerships and structures work. In terms of, why I came back, look, I think my passion was in plaintiff, personal injury, and, I'm glad though that Trescotts showed me that I think that was where my passion lay. And look, I was fortunate enough to come back because, look, I kept in touch with my managing partner at the time. And firstly, I left on a good note, which is a lesson to everybody: don't burn your bridges. Kept in touch, and then he could see that that's where my passion lay. And look, I just wanted to try something different. I did it, and it's sort of out of the system, you could probably say. So it was an easier transition for me, but one that I'm glad that happened.
And when you moved to Trescocks and then back to Nowicki's, the skills you learnt at Trescocks, were they transferable? Were you able to bring them back to the Plaintiff side?
Yeah, look, not only day to day in terms of my practice, because obviously I learned how defending insurers work, so it helped me day to day running a file. But I think the big life lessons or career lessons was when I took partnership, and we needed to change a firm both structurally and the way we did things. And so Trescocks probably taught me that corporate culture and how you can mix the two, because we were more of a personal firm and boutique firm, and I was able to bring some stakeholders from Trescocks to Nowicki Carbone to assist with that. And so that experience and insight into that I wouldn't have ever had if I didn't go to Trescocks. So I'm also indebted to them for what's turned out for me anyway.
Yeah. And so in 2014, you sold Nowicki Carbone to Slater and Gordon. First of all, how was that as an achievement?
Yeah, look, it was a tough one because also we're building a firm, and it happened so quickly that you want to sort of continue the ride, but also you don't get many opportunities where other law firms knock on the door and want to reward you for the work that you've done in that short amount of time. And look, I've got to say that's a pretty big compliment and something that I think I'll look back later on and feel a lot more proud about. Now I'm just ready to kick on to the next challenge. But it was I'm a pretty tough guy, and we're lucky in this legal industry that you can build something up and people think it's a commodity and want to look at it and potentially purchase it. So a massive accomplishment that I'll always look back on.
It's great. And you're at Slater and Gordon now, and you've recently been promoted to the State Practice Group Leader of Civil Liability for Victoria. How have you risen to that leadership position so quickly again?
Yeah, look, I think with integrating Nowicki Carbone and Slater and Gordon, I've had access to the managers at Slater and Gordon. They've seen my skills and what I can offer, and ultimately, look, I built the insurance practice or the civil practice at Nowicki Carbone from it was almost 2 or 3 people to 25 in such a short amount of time. So, they can see that there's skills that I can bring to the table, and something that they want to add to that. So, and like I said, with when I was at Nowicki, I've showed my eagerness to be in management, to lead, and I want to challenge, and that fortunately I've been given the opportunity to run that position and run that role. So I'm pretty excited by it.
So it's very exciting, and for lawyers that wanting to take that partnership step, what advice would you give them?
I'd say, look, a couple of things. One, you've got to be prepared to take a risk. It's not something that you can predict 20 years on and say this is what's going to happen. I think you've got to put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. And I took a risk, and it was the best risk that I've ever took. You've got to trust yourself, and that's why I was 27. But it doesn't matter what age you are. I think if you know your business, you know what you want. And obviously do your due diligence and the like. You've got to trust yourself, because if you don't, then I think it's hard then to be a partner or a true leader. But you also you've got to make yourself known and seen very early on, because if you don't, it's hard to progress quickly in organisations, especially these days. And so I'd recommend that you just work hard, sleeves up, and really show your worth and be a well-rounded lawyer, which it's not all about just book smarts or street smarts. I think it's a bit of both.
Nines, you're an inspiration to all. Thank you so much for being here today and answering our questions.
Thank you, Liz.